Hey guys, it's Gala. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna have a little story time. We're gonna talk about that one time in Turkey when Jor-El had to go to the emergency room because... Okay, so grab your drink or coffee or tea. I got my drink here and come listen to this story. Okay, so one cold, no, it wasn't sunny. It was just a cold day in Turkey. We were in Antalya. It was December 1st and we went out to eat. And you know, if you go to Turkey, there are cats everywhere. They say the cats outnumber the amount of people in Turkey. So yeah, the cats could rise up and overtake Turkey one day. So we went out to dinner. And this is the first time we've had a cat that was just, he would not listen. Like, you know, you say, hey cat, hey kitty, whatever, and they go about their business, you know. Once you stop talking to them or seeing them, we weren't even talking to him that or anything, you know, he was just coming around for the food. So I made sure to tell the kids do not drop any food because if you feed them, they'll stay, right? But the cat would not leave. So he was hanging around, and he started to become a little bit aggressive. So we just shooed him away. We thought he left, but apparently he went under the table. Jor-El was wearing shorts that day. And I don't know what happened on the table, but then I heard Jor-El scream. The cat scratched him. I looked at his foot. It was bleeding. It was not a bite, thank God. It was a scratch. It didn't hit the flesh, you know, his leg. It was a skin scratch, so it wasn't deep or anything. It was just right on the surface, but it was bleeding. So at first, you know, we were almost finished eating, so I'm like, okay, let me just pay and leave. And went to the bathroom, washed it with soap and water because that's what the internet said. And then I started thinking, I'm like, he hasn't gotten rabies shots, and we're in Turkey. It's a wild, you know, outdoor animal. It's not an indoor pet that has all its vaccines and stuff. So when I started reading on our way walking back, it says Turkey's at high risk for rabies, not in Antalya, but just, you know, in general. So I'm like, okay, I'm not gonna chance it. I knew it was just a little scratch. By the time we got to the apartment, the Airbnb, it was already closing up, and you know, that's it, like it never happened. Because I mean, it was like this tiny. But when I started reading, it's saying, oh, if you start having symptoms, it's too late. There's no treatment. The only thing you can do is get the rabies shot as soon as possible, and that will, you know. So I called up my friend Otani. Hey Tani. I call him for everything happens. I'm like, Otani, should I go to the hospital? What should I do? I know he's probably like, girl, I'm gonna start billing you. But yeah, so he said, you know, just to be on the safe side, to go to the hospital, get the rabies shot, because once, everything that I read says once you start getting symptoms, it's too late. There's no cure for rabies, so might as well just get the shot, right? It's not gonna do anything, because you can even take it as a preventative when you're going to certain places. So we were meeting the Airbnb host there for another reason. So when she got there, I told her everything that was going on, and she's like, okay, come, I'll take you to the hospital if you want. And I'm like, yes, please. So we went to the hospital. There were a couple people in the emergency section, but I think they were either waiting or they already got through or whatever it was. But when we went up, and I think the kids, if it's something with kids, they will just push you through. I've noticed that in pretty much everywhere in Europe so far that we've been. Once you have a kid with you, things just go so much easier and so much smoother. Even just coming into London, having Jor-El as a 10-year-old, we went to a separate line that was empty. So yeah, I think that was one of the reasons we just got through in 2 seconds. So they took us back to the doctor. He asked about shots that he's had and said he would give him the tetanus shot and the first in a set of 4 rabies shots. So he would have to get 4 in that series. So he went ahead and he gave him the tetanus shot, and then we had to go to another room for the nurse to give the rabies shot. So I was like, okay, They did that. He looked at the cut. It was, like I said, it was almost gone by this time. It was the same day, but a couple of hours, and it was already healing, because it heals pretty fast. Like me, it would sit there forever and because it was so tiny, just the skin, it was no flesh or deep or anything, so it was already almost gone. But because it broke the skin and there was blood, I wanted to just be safe. So we did that, and then while we're waiting to go to the nurse, well, we went inside to see the nurse in the next room, and then they were doing up the paperwork, giving him the vaccine card, which is this right here. I know I haven't seen these since Jamaica when we had vaccine cards like these, and they just did the writing. So he had to get 4 shots, and he got the first one that day. They said, okay, while we were writing everything up, they took the vaccine out and everything, and then I had to go right to the front desk to pay. I'm gonna give you 2 seconds to guess how much I paid to see the doctor and get all those the 2 shots and everything at the emergency room. Just guess. Done? Okay. Yeah, no, you didn't get it right. I know none of you got it right. I paid 109 Turkish lira. 109 Turkish lira. Like, are you kidding me? For a vaccine, for getting the vaccine, for seeing the doctor and everything at a emergency room. So that was, at the time of the exchange rate, it was $8 and change USD to see a doctor at a hospital. I'm like, wow, that is so crazy. And everybody was just so helpful and nice. I didn't have any issues. I mean, you know, if I went there by myself, the translation would have been horrible, because nobody spoke English. Of course, I'm in Turkey. I don't speak Turkish, so it would have been hard. But because the Airbnb host came with us, she just talked and told them everything, and then she just, you know, put it in WhatsApp. I translated and then get what was saying. So he got those 2 shots, and we paid the amount and left. And because that happened on December 1st, we had 3 more shots left to get in Turkey, because no, 2 more shots, because we were leaving Turkey on the 12th. So the shots were the 1st, the 4th, the 8th. Yeah, so we're leaving Turkey on the 8th. And it was early morning, so I'm like, I need to figure out how we can get that 3rd shot in Turkey instead of going to London, because in London, everything I was seeing, the shots were £60 each. And this is preventative, because London is not a high-risk country like Turkey, so they, you know, it's more preventative if you're going to Turkey. So I'm like, oh crap, I don't want to pay $60 when I just paid $8 to see the doctor in the hospital and everything. So I'm like, okay, we did the 1st, the 4th, and then for the 8th, we were leaving for the airport at like 5 o'clock in the morning. We were to reach there because I think our flight was 7, or yeah, it was super early. So what I decided to do was just go to the hospital at like 4 a.m. because it is, you know, the 8th. So I called up my friend again. I'm like, so does it matter what time? Is it like 24-hour counting for the days, or is it just on that day? He's like, yeah, it's fine. You know, even the day after would have been fine, as long as you got the first 2 shots on the, you know, set date. So I just went up back to the hospital. At 4 o'clock, there was nobody there, of course. I went in 2 seconds, we were seen. This time, for the 2nd and the 3rd shot, guess how much I paid? Because this time we weren't seeing the doctor at all. It was just going in, giving them the vaccine card, and they know what I came for. How much did I pay? 2 more seconds. 3 Turkish lira. 1, 2, 3 Turkish lira. That's like 20 cents. 20 cents, the administration fee to get seen, to get the 2nd and 3rd shots. And I was, the 2nd time that I went, I didn't have Turkish lira. No, I had some coins and then a 20 Turkish lira bill. And I was trying to give it to her, and she's like, no, that's too, you know, big. She's like, no, you know, in Turkish, telling me to keep it. She went into her pocket, took out some coins, and, you know, put to my 3 Turkish lira bill. Like, okay. So the next time I went, when we were leaving, you know, 4 o'clock, like I said, in the morning, nobody was there. It was another $3, or not $3, 3 Turkish lira. I still didn't have any more change. So I gave it to him, but I gave it with the intention of not getting any change because they've just been so helpful. You know, it's nothing to me, but I do understand that there are people there that cannot pay this bill. So I gave it to him, and I already typed up, you know, in Translate, keep the change, put it towards the bill of the next person that comes in and cannot pay it. So when he was handing me back the change, you know, he was looking at me too, like really, you know, you want us to break this to give you, you know, give you back change for 3 Turkish lira. So when he was handing it back, I'm like, no. And he's like, take it. And then that's when I took out my phone and I'm like, you know, put the Translate so he could hear it. And he's like, okay, thank you, you know. So I just wanted to do that because, like I said, 3 Turkish lira is 20 cents. 109 is $8 in change. That's not going to do anything to me, but it will help somebody else. So that's what I did. And then, so now we get to London, and London is not, like I said, it's not a high-risk country. So I figured it wouldn't be easy to find or to do the 4th one. That was the 4th and the last. And they have it that it was supposed to be done on the 15th. But apparently London, they do the 4th one on the 21st day. So they do 1-4-8-21. And Turkey, they do 1-4-8-15. So I was calling around. I called NHS. I called pharmacies. I called the travel clinics, because that's the only clinics that had the rabies shots, is a travel clinic where you can get it, you know, if you're going on vacation, just as a vaccine to preventative care. So that's the only way they have it, as preventative, not as post, you know, because they don't have rabies here. I couldn't get anywhere, nowhere. So the 15th, I'm like, look, I'm just going to go to the emergency room, the A&E, and see what they tell me. So we go there to the children's section. It wasn't packed. It wasn't full or anything. I think there was 2 kids before us, and then whoever, you know, the ones in the room already. We get there, but this was the annoying part. We did everything, told them everything that we wanted, and then we got to sit and wait until the nurse or the practitioner, whoever, she came, and she's like, oh yeah, they say we do it on the 21st. Like, she called the rabies center or something, and they do it on the 21st, so they wouldn't give him on the 15th. And then she's like, since you're here for a little bit, less than 3 months, go ahead and register with a GP. They will take care of everything, find where you're supposed to do the test. And, you know, I'm like, okay. So my godmother, I came home, I told her, and she's like, okay, you can go over and try to register with my GP, and then, you know, blah, blah, blah. Want to get everything done for the 21st. The GP's like, we don't do rabies shot. We're not going to, even if we register you, I don't know what they're telling you to do. We're not going to do the rabies shots. And I'm like, I call the travel clinics. I'm like, okay, 60 pounds, whatever. They say they don't do post-rabies shots. And I'm like, it's the same thing. It's not a different type of vaccine. It's the same vaccine. No, because they have to report it to the rabies center and blah, blah, blah. NHS said they shouldn't charge me because they get reimbursed from the rabies center. So it was this whole thing around and around. And I'm like, it took days. And I'm like, why is this so hard to do? And then I'm like, okay, you know, they don't have a rabies issue, so they're not going to have it on hand. It's different. This is probably just, you know, one of those things. So I just decided I'm going to go back to the A&E, because she said if I didn't get through, I could come back to the A&E, but then I just have to wait again to, you know, to be seen. Whatever. So I went early in the morning just so, you know, I would have options. If I needed to leave to go somewhere else, they would know where to send me. I'm like, I'm going to the hospital. They will know where to send me, because obviously nobody else knows where to send me. NHS was sending me to the travel clinic, saying the travel clinic should do it. They'll get the vial back, so they shouldn't charge me. travel clinic says they don't do post shots. So if I go back to the emergency room again, it wasn't packed. This children's section we get in because, you know, I guess it's kids again. So we just got in, got everything taken care of. Okay, so that took forever. He came back and he said they do not have any rabies shots in stock in the fridge at the hospital. So they had to call around and they finally found a pharmacy that has the rabies shots. So they're going to send a runner to go pick it up and then bring it to the hospital where they will give it to Jor-El. It took forever, of course. I was just sitting there. I just wanted to know what was going on. And we waited a little bit. Once they got it, they're like, yay, we got the shot. Who's ready? So they were messing with him, playing with him, just being, a kid's hospital. So they were having fun because they know he's afraid of needles. I told them. And they just gave it to him, and that was it. The 4th shot, finally he got it. Guess how much that cost me? $0. Nothing. It cost me nothing to go to the A&E to get the shot. I'm like, I was leaving. I'm like, okay, so where do I pay? She's like, where do you pay? You're done. That's it. And I'm like, okay. I'm like, okay. So they were telling my family here was telling me, and everything that I was reading, if you're going to be charged, they're going to tell you up front how much it's going to be, because, next thing you're going to be like, yes, $10,000 for a hospital stay or something. And you're like, dang, I don't have 10,000 pounds. What am I going to, get them back home? You go to the hospital, you don't know how much you're going to end up with a bill. 2 months later, you have $50,000 bill in the mail. Yeah, like me when I went back in July. In May. So yeah, it was completely free to get the rabies shot, be seen at the hospital for the kid, and it was done. It did take a little bit to figure out and find and do all that, but it worked out because I was gonna get that shot. That 4th shot was gonna happen, and I just needed to figure out what was going on. So yeah, getting medical care outside of the US, it worked out for me. I know it wasn't anything. No, it was serious because we don't know if he was infected or anything. And like I said, once you start showing symptoms, that's it. There's no cure. You're just going to die, literally. So getting that taken care of outside of the US, it was a really good experience, minus the hiccups and the stressing in London. In Turkey, it was smooth. Went in, went out. Not even 20 minutes it took to get everything taken care of. You know what I mean? And in London, it was fine. And I paid a total of what? Under 120 Turkish lira. So like $10 for, all of that. That's all I paid. That is crazy. And I just mentioned when I went, I did that video about me being in the hospital overnight when we went back because of some issues that, came up and whatever. And literally my bill was like $50,000. Of course, I sent that to like insurance and got some stuff taken care of because I'm not paying a $50,000 bill. Like that's just ridiculous. Why is it? I'm not going to go into that, but I'm just telling you, sometimes we are stressed out about care outside of the US. I'm not going to say it's going to be perfect every time, but I've never seen an expat or a nomad, complain about the service they received in a different country at the hospital or doctor or, any care, medical care. So I can say you'll be fine. You'll be taken care of. You're not going to go broke trying to get the care that you need. So that's the story time. I didn't even drink any of my juice. Sitting here getting... It's good. Look, pineapple, banana, and coconut. It was like $1. 1 pound. Okay, so that is it for today, you guys. As usual, go ahead, leave a comment below, give us a like, hit the notification bell to stay up to date on adventures, and hit subscribe. We are moving on from London in a couple of days, so you'll see where we go next. See you in the next video. Bye.